My style of music is pretty eclectic because I like to incorporate a lot of early jazz things, like even the pre-bebop stuff, some of the Dixieland things that my father plays real well.
The feeling that I get from their music is I like their music, and it's different from what I was brought up with, but it's tight and it's musical, and it takes the strong feeling and know-how to do it, and I like it.
My father's music is I characterize as being soulful and full of feeling and deep emotion. Carl's music is very tasteful, flavorful music, and I get a very proud feeling listening to him play.
Hi, I'm Anasa Briggs. You've just had a glimpse of what's coming up next when we meet the Evans family. There are 5 members of the Evans family, and each of the 3 men have individually distinguished themselves as jazz artists. Many of us have heard of the legendary Mickey Finn Show. Carl Evans Sr. has been a member of that group for decades. Carl Evans Jr. is notable for his work as leader, composer, pianist with Fatburger, highly acclaimed for jazz fusion. And Michael Evans has performed most recently with the renowned Ella Ruth Piggy's Hot Talk of the Town Band. Family Harmony is the special musical family reunion of the Evans family. We have the rare opportunity to hear their combined talents as they share their thoughts about family, music, and the impact these forces have had in their lives. Clara Evans, wife and mother, relates the family beginnings.
Well, I met my husband in Waukegan, Illinois, and it seemed, it was love at first sight. He was trying to go to play a job in Zion, Illinois, and I was coming from work, and I think he'd missed the bus. And we met, and we started talking, and then he wanted to come over and take me out to eat until moving. And that started our relationship. And just a few months later, we were at the altar, married, and been married 35 years.
Well, I went in the Navy in 1946. And at that time, well, the tours of duty especially were the hardest thing in the family relationship.
Well, I think my husband and I have survived because of patience. Number one, patience. And faith in God, and love. Love, patience, and faith.
It survived because of my wife, the way she is. She has patience of, patience of Job. Job's wife, maybe. There were times when I would stay 6 months, come back and stay maybe a month, and turn around and have to go back for another 6 months. Most of my tour was over in the Far East.
Maybe gone 8 sometimes and 9 months. And we would be standing there and just looking at the water and that ship coming in from all that long time. And the band would be playing California, Here I Come. It was a feeling that's hard to describe.
Listening to Carl play for 35 years has always been a source of joy for Clara. That happiness is compounded whenever father and sons have the opportunity to perform together.
My family is real stable. The environment at home was such that it was real conducive to playing. There are lots of instruments around, that's for sure, because my father was a Navy bandmaster, and I remember certain times there'd be an acoustic bass in the living room. I'd wake up and then be playing a bassoon or something like that. And my father plays all woodwind instruments, so there's all kinds of clarinets and saxophones and all this kind of stuff. So it was really nice variety of sounds that I got exposed to, you know. I used to like sit and listen to him play piano, and he'd go to the store, and I'd try to copy the things that he'd play. Or sometimes he'd walk by the piano and play something, and walk in the kitchen, and I'd come out and play the same thing, or just like little ear training techniques that were not necessarily consciously there, but it was there, and it was a real nice environment, musical environment to grow up in.
Well, the teachers at St. Rita's Catholic School, I think he was about 8 or 9 years old, and told me he had a musical talent. And so right away, my husband and I went and got him an old piano. And there he practiced, and in the morning, sometimes he'd wake me up playing, you know, and and he really worked hard with his music.
My style of music is pretty eclectic because I like to incorporate a lot of early jazz, things like even the pre-bebop stuff, some of the Dixieland things that my father plays real well. And I got exposed to all this sort of stuff through my father. And other influences that I have, though, being raised in San Diego and being familiar with a lot of the local musicians here, I have a real strong Latin influence, a lot of percussion, a lot of the salsa. I worked a lot with percussionists and people that have played with, like Mongo Santa Maria and these guys from Cuba and people from Brazil. So I have a lot of that flavor. Also, I liked a lot of the early fusion keyboard stuff, like Chick Corea's early work and Herbie Hancock's earlier works and all this. Plus, I have a lot of like the James Brown, Earth, Wind and Fire, this kind of, grew up listening to Sly and the Family Stone, so there's a lot of different kinds of influences there. My first paid gig was when I was 10 or 11 years old. And at that time, Carl was playing in a band. And I dreamed of playing in a band with Carl. When I first went into accompanying Carl, I was about 9 years old. And he would practice all the time. And I would listen to him. And I wanted to join in and play along with him. My interest was the drums, of course, but I had no instrument, so I would use whatever I could get to make a drum sound. Most likely it was boxes or sometimes pots and pans, and set them up on the couch next to the piano and play along with Carl.
Oh yeah, Mike wanted to be a drummer, and so he asked, could he have drums for Christmas? And I told him yes, and I got his drums. And I would tell Mike, I said, you have to practice. You know, sometimes you can't always be out playing, you know, like the kids knock on the door and say, Mike, come out to play. You have to work hard, you know, and you want to practice.
Drum sets are expensive. And I mean, a good drum set would at least $200. That's a lot of money for those days. But my mother came through, and I remember the day she showed me an advertisement of a drum set in the newspaper and said, I think I can afford this. I think I can get this. It's going to be a sacrifice, but I can swing it, and I'll get it for you. And that was one of the happiest moments of my life. When I got older and started attending some of the jam sessions and rehearsals with my father, it was an exciting feeling. It was awesome for a kid my age to be exposed to masterful musicians playing exciting music. I think I became more attracted to the drums because of the rhythms and the dynamics and the syncopation of drums. It always fascinated me. Also, he has an impeccable sense of rhythm, impeccable sense of time, which are two different things, and balance. What some of the best drummers do, he does, when they know how to enter a phrase and end a phrase, bring in different sections of a tune, this sort of thing, create dynamics. A good drummer, like my brother, is like the quarterback of a band. You know, they slow the pace, they speed up the pace, they designate whether you're gonna throw the bomb or you're gonna rush or whatever you're gonna do. He does that real well.
Anyone who sees the Evans family perform knows they love jazz and that music and family are inextricably woven into the fabric of their lives.
I like their music, and it's different from what I was brought up with, but it's tight and it's musical, and it takes a strong feeling and know-how. And I can't get over it, you know, really, the way they play. I would go hear them play before I'd go hear a lot of people.
There's no art form that can create imagery as fast as music masterfully done, and that's what my father does. For instance, he'll you know, if the pretty stuff is extremely pretty, the fiery stuff is extremely fiery. Everything is as it's supposed to be. It's not kind of, sort of, this way. It is. And that's something that I look forward to, you know, if I keep practicing, happening in a few years for me.
God gave them the musical talent, and they are using it to the best of their ability. God has given each and every one of us a talent. Now, this may not be music to some people, but whatever it is. I was told when I was as a junior high school student by a teacher, and he said, he gave us a poem, and he said, if you can't be the pine on the top of the hill, be a scrub in the valley, but be the best little scrub by the side of the rill. And if you can't be the moon, be a star. It makes no difference where you win or fail, but be the best, whatever you are, and the best has motivated me. Things that my husband would do to encourage our son is to tell them that they had to work long hours, rehearse, and work hard and strive to be the best. And I feel very proud of all of them.